Hello, students. Good afternoon. How are you? How are you doing? Is everything fine? Great. Today we're here to continue our Unit 7. Yeah, so please grab your books. We are going to start in our page 73. We have our vocabulary today. In our Unit 7, we will talk about predictions, things that we imagine for our future. That's why the title of our unit is Into the Unknown. So we're talking about something that we don't know, something that we imagine for our future, that we predict for our future. Yeah? Great. So, page 73, are you there? All right. First, we have in here an exercise where you should imagine what is the main question. Okay? There's no correct or incorrect answer. It's just if you were in his place, what would you ask? Look at the cartoon. Yes? What do you think the question is? You are going on a journey. Who will I go with? How much will it cost? Will I be in danger? Will I find a place to park? Will I get something to eat? If I were this man, I would ask this question. Will I get something to eat? That's my opinion. Okay. Good. So, as I told you, there is no correct or incorrect answer. If you don't like to be alone, probably you're going to ask, who will I go with? If you don't have much money, maybe you're going to ask, how much will it cost? If you are afraid of animals or high places, will I be in danger? And if you have a car, will I find a place to park? Great. This is just to fill this balloon in here, okay? There's no correct or incorrect answer. Let's go to our exercise 2. In our exercise 2, guys, we have some words in here. And these words are used to refer to future, okay? You can use a dictionary to find the noun forms of the verbs. We have nouns and verbs. So the verbs, we need to discover the noun. For example, if I have antecipar, I need to create antecipação. That's the idea. So you have the verb and you need to write the noun form, okay? So the first one that we have is anticipate. Yes? That's the first word that we have. Is something that we expect for our future. Yes, we can also say that is something that we predict. How do you imagine, or how is the noun form of this verb, anticipate? Anticipate, the noun form is, let's check. Anticipation, great. Forecast, that is a word to talk about prever. Yes? When we talk about prever, how can I say previsão in English? It's also forecast, okay? Weather forecast, for example. When we talk about forecast, we are probably talking about predict the weather condition for the next day or the next night, for example. Forecast is the idea of prever climas, okay? Or you can also talk about financial market. Yes, when we talk about business, They also use the word forecast. Foresee is the idea of prever to, but when I talk about the noun, see is the verb. When I talk about visão, guys, do you remember the since verbs, os verbos de sentido? Como que é visão? Sight. Great. So when we talk about previsão, we are going to say foresight. That's it. In this case, the foresee is the idea of predict the future, the ability to predict the future, okay? Then we have imagine, you know the meaning. How can I say the noun? Imagination, great. Next one is predict. How can I say the noun form of predict? It is prediction, great. When we talk about predict, guys, we're talking about that something that you estimate or you see a consequence, okay? So you estimate or you see a consequence, so you're talking about prediction, yeah? Then we have speculate, we are talking about speculação, and the noun form is, yeah, speculation, great. Then we have in here 3 words that are already a noun. Omen, that we used to talk about presságio. Then we have premonition, that is to talk about a strong feeling that you have related to something, yeah. And then we have prophecy, that is a kind of prediction, yeah. Great. Any questions, any doubts? If you have some questions, remember that you can send me a message or in WhatsApp and I can solve it for you. Great. Can we continue? Now we are going to do our exercise 3. In our exercise 3, guys, we have some quotes from famous people, okay? And you are going to use the words that we have in here to fill the blanks. It's good to remember that more than one option is possible, okay? All right? So I'm going to read the sentence while I'm reading. I think you should think, start thinking, okay? So number 1, science fiction writers. The inevitable, and although problems and catastrophes may be inevitable, solutions are not. Number 2, science has not yet mastered we too much for the next year, and yet far too little for the next 10. That was written by Neil Armstrong. If you want to the future, a boy and his dog and his friends, and a summer that never ends. The most reliable way to the future is try to understand the present. Sometimes I have these and I don't forget them, so I will be prepared when they happened. So you have the options: anticipate, forecast, foresee, imagine, omen, predict, premonition, prophecy, and speculate. Right? Have you already filled the blanks? So now I'm going to put the listening, okay, so you can listen and check your answers.
1. Science fiction writers foresee the inevitable, and Although problems and catastrophes may be inevitable, solutions are not. Isaac Asimov, science fiction writer, 1919 to 1992. 2. Science has not yet mastered prophecy. We predict too much for the next year, and yet far too little for the next 10. Neil Armstrong, astronaut, 1930 to 2012. 3. If you want to imagine the future, imagine a boy and his dog and his friends, and a summer that never ends. Neil Gaiman, author, born 1960. 4. The most reliable way to forecast the future is to try to understand the present. John Naisbitt, future analyst, born 1929. 5.
Sometimes I have these premonitions, and I don't forget them, so I will be prepared when they happen. Isabella Allende, author, born 1942.
Okay, so number 1 we complete with 4C. Science has not yet mastered prophecy. We predict too much for the next year and yet for little for the next 10 years. If you want to imagine the future, imagine a boy and his dog and his friends in a summer that never ends. I like this. And I really like the first one. The most reliable way to forecast the future is try to understand the present. Great. And study the past. I will add here, try to understand the present and study the past. Sometimes I have these premonitions and I don't forget them, so I will prepare when they happened. Great. All right. Good. Now we are going to do our exercise 6. In our exercise 6, guys, we have some statements and you are going to tell me if you agree or if you disagree and also the reasons. Okay? Let's go there. Exercise 6. This one. All right? I gather there was a prophecy that the world would end by the year 2020. Do you agree or do you disagree? I disagree because we are in 2020 and the world is still here. We are still alive with coronavirus, but we are alive. So, how can you say that? I think that's wrong because we are in 2020. We have some problems, some different virus, but we're still alive. You are going to give the reasons, all right? There is a speculation that there won't be enough electricity to power the world electronic equipments beyond 2050. Do you agree or do you disagree? Okay, in this case, I disagree because I predict that we will have lots of green energy, solar energy, wind farms that will produce lots of energy for us. We're going to have different kinds of energy. We have already had these different energies, yes, this green energy, but in the future I think we will have more than we have now. I anticipate that we will all be using tablets and notebooks to learn in not too distant future. That's what is happening exactly in this moment of our lives. While we were at school, we were using books, but now you are using your laptops, your cell phones, tablets to have your lesson. So it's not a far future. Yeah? Okay. So remember that in this exercise, we're going to give your reasons. I gave mine, and you are going to write your reasons. If you agree or if you disagree with these statements, okay? That's it for today, guys. Have a nice day. Next class, we're going to study the idioms and start our grammar. So, see you next class. Bye-bye.